Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In the course of this lecture, we have been looking at GitHub. We've been looking at Git. We also learned the class. We learned about how to navigate around in our terminal, the command line terminal. We used various commands like the cd, which we said is the to means to change directory. We also use mkr id to make directory. We use rm to remove file. We use rmdir to remove directory. We use touch to create file, and we said the difference between directory and file. We also said directory is still the same. It's still the same thing as folder. And we've also spoken about Git, and we said Git helps us to track the changes in our file. It helps us to track the changes in our file, and we also spoke about how to initiate the repo. We use the command called like git init to initialize the empty repository where Git uses to track our file. And we said the importance of it is that it enables us to revert back to a previous commit in case if we don't to enable us to know the changes in our file, so that we keep track of everything. In today's class, we'll be talking about GitHub. GitHub is a remote repository. Unlike Git, we have this Git. Git exists within our computer, our local computer. So GitHub is a open source which enables us to send, which serve as a place where we can save our work. For example, we may have a file or we may have our document in our local computer, and supposing the computer crash, we will not have any access to it again. But when you have something, when you already open an account in GitHub, you can actually retrieve any information that you have previously saved. So just open GitHub or press enter. So this is GitHub account. So I'll just press this. I already have an account. I already have an account on GitHub. So let me just open my own account as an example. My name is Egwaldi Daniel. This is my account on GitHub. I don't know why it's not. Maybe the network is not loading properly. If not, my picture is meant to be displayed here. So this is my GitHub account, and this my repository. I have like 38 repository that I have on my in my account. So it's very easy for you to. It's very easy. It's not that complicated. As a developer, you should have an account on GitHub. The important thing is again is that when you're collaborating and working with teams, you need a place where you save all your work. Is GitHub enable us as a developer to collaborate with others. Is a good platform that we can use to collaborate with others. And I remember in the last class, this is my GitHub account. Once you say, if you don't have an account, you just sign in. It's very simple. You just sign in through GitHub. It's not difficult, just try sign in. So let me just illustrate how to create a repo. You can look at this. This is a plus sign. I'll just click on this. Then you'll see new repository. Then I'll click on the new repository. I can call it anything I want to call it. So let me call it teaching. You can see options here, description. You can give a description, then public or private. Public enable other people to have access to it. They can see your work. Why private? That means that you don't want people to see your work. You can add a readme file that will tell people about what you are doing, about the project, and so, or you create it from your back end, from your code already. So then you click on this, enter. So once you click on this, yeah, good. Remember in our previous class, so GitHub actually provide us with two alternatives. We said you can see create a new repo on your command line. The same command line we learned in the last class. Git init, create a repo, then git add. Okay, git add to add a readme to the one. That means when you've already created your readme and you want Git to be able to start tracking, or you want to put it in the staging area for Git to be able to be tracking any changes. You put Git add, then the name. Remember I said Git add and dot, especially when you have multiple files and you don't want to be involved with the stress of typing each one after the other. You can just put git dot, but this one you are just specific that add this particular one, then git commit. I told you that it is very very important for you to have a commit message, and the commit message should be precise. First commit. Then in today's class I'll be talking about this git branch and these other ones that we see here. So let me go to my terminal. Let me go back to my terminal to explain something before we come here. So this is my terminal. Let's cd into let's cd into let's create a directory. Cd. Let's make a directory called make directory called software. Let's just call it software. Then let's cd into software. Alright. You press your enter key right there into the software. Then let's create some files in it. Remember the command is touch. Let's call the first one index.html. Let's create another one, c index.css, and the next one index.js. So I'll be explaining. Let me just give a quick explanation for this. So the HTML stands for Upper Text Markup Language. It is used to build the it provides a structure for our websites. Let's just take it like that. It provides a structure for our websites. Like your website, we have different h value. Like I think we have 1 to 6 h value. That means that the headers, the link, and I will be explaining that in other videos to come. Just know that the HTML is the structure. Why the this one stands for cascading style sheet, is used to decorate our website. For example, you've already written an header, and you wrote the header name is, maybe for example, is this software. The header name is this software. So the CSS will be used to decorate it. That means that to give it this particular color. So why the JX start for the JavaScript? Just JavaScript help with the functionality of our website. You can use your JavaScript for your website. It helps your website to be functional. For example, you can click on a button, and the button will submit the file and create do many other things. That's the function of the JavaScript. That's just a quick explanation about that. So let's just press the enter key. So we've already created the file. Now we've created this file. So in this lecture, I'll also be talking about branching. The branching is very important in programming. Like now we are operating on the main. Look at this place. This is the main. So when you are collaborating with your team, everybody cannot be working on the main. So everybody can actually branch and get a copy of the mail in with them. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Maybe for example, this file that we've already created now, maybe we've already built a website with it. This is actually what you need to build your website. The front end now, the HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript. This is what you use to build it, and you have the back end. Maybe you use Node.js for your back end. So that's just what you need. Then after doing that, after building this, your team build it together, right? Good. Now you need to make improvements in your website. Now they can collect a copy of this. Now let's assuming that this one, all these files now they are, this is what we used to build. We have written code inside it, and this is the code that we use to build our website. So in order for team member A and team member B to make changes on this, as first of all they must make sure that they don't want to introduce bug to your website, because your website is still functional. People are still interacting with your website. It's not that your website is done. So they cannot just come and just extract things from your mail and send it to your, that is not done that way. So what we just do, we have to branch. That's the purpose of creating branch. And there's a command called git checkout dash b. Let's call the branch we are making second branch. Let's call it second branch. Let's do second underscore branch. And let's press enter. Now you say switch to a new branch, second branch. Now let's check how many branch that we have now. Git branch. Good. You can see we have two branch, and now we've created the second branch, and we've also switched to the second branch. Can you see now? Before we are having this main, and now with this command that we just did, we've already created the second branch, and we actually switch to the second branch. So now let's check the content of the second branch. LX, you can see that the same thing that we have, the second branch is just like a copy. It will copy whatever you have inside your main branch. You can see, then you can now work on this one in your local computer. Once you are satisfied with it and you've tested it out that, oh, this is actually what I want and it's okay, that's when you can now merge it to your main branch. So now let's go back to our our main branch. What is the command to and go back to our main branch? We use this command git checkout, and the name of the branch. The name of the branch is main, right? Then you press enter. So now we've gone back to our main branch. Can you see it? We've gone back to our main branch. We're already in the main. So now let's clear our screen. One thing as a programmer is that you don't need to cram all the code. There are resources somewhere for you to have there. But the good thing is about it is that once you get your hand dirty, when I say get your hand dirty, is when you code often, you will start to memorize this thing. It becomes part of you. It's not something strange or magic. With time, you just get used to it, and even when you forget, you will see places to just get information on Stack Overflow. You can ask your ChatGPT, or if you have idea of what you want, maybe you just forgot something, or like, oh yeah, ChatGPT, what's the code for this, blah 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 blah. And even if the ChatGPT give you information, you can say, oh, you can be sure and say that, oh, I think this information is wrong, or this information is correct. So you can see that we are already in our main branch now. So let's work on our main branch first of all, LX. Then I'll also be opening my git my git batch. So let me minimize my screen. And I said we have what are we are using. um let's open Visual Studio. Like I said earlier on in my previous video, I said the Git badge, the Git has its own editor. It has Nano, it has Vim, but for in the course of coding, I would prefer if you download your Visual Studio Code. It's actually more clean, and it's more better for you to use and for you to use to build your website, to write your scripts inside it. Is very very direct. It's very easy. You can see how how it is. It's not that complicated to use. It has a very good graphical interface. You can see the coloring and the rest. It also even has its own terminal here. You can still code along with it. You can still code along with it. It's just super good and very easy. I will admonish anybody to just go and just download it. Very easy. Go to your well, I open several files. I don't know why. So it's I will encourage you, but just go open your Chrome. When you open your Chrome, Visual Studio VS Code. Click on it. You can see click on download. If you are using Windows, they have the procedure which you will use to download Windows. If you are using Linux, if you are using Mac, depending on the computer you are using, it's very easy and very simple. I already have it installed on my system. If not all, I've just gone ahead, and there are several tutorial videos to actually guide you. It's not something complicated or difficult to do. You can just follow the process. Windows, you click here. Mac, you click here. Linux, you click here. So it's just very easy. Then you download it. It's not as difficult as that. So talking about GitHub, so like I said, your Git is your local. It helps you to create a local repo on your computer, and while your GitHub is like the cloud the cloud. Let me open GitHub. Let's see what GitHub is. GitHub. GitHub. That's where you host your code in a remote repository online. You host your code in a remote repository online. I didn't click my GitHub account. I just wanted to just open GitHub. You see, millions of developers and business call GitHub home. Yeah, this for short. As a developer, you can't you can't do without GitHub. It's very important for you to host your code. Even when you want to collaborate with other people, you can see sign up for GitHub. Let's click on it. Sign up for GitHub. I don't know what's wrong with my internet speed today, or I don't know, maybe my network. It's taking long time to load, and it's not even bringing it out on time. So this GitHub, like I said earlier on, and I remember, let's go back to the one I opened. So let me just explain this. Like, I wanted to create my GitHub repository so that to connect my computer, my to connect my local with my remote, so that from my local, from my remote, I can actually transfer data in between them. So assuming I think I've not initialized Git. That's very good. I haven't initialized Git on the file that we are doing, so we can just copy this command. So let me just explain this command. So Git is actually giving us two options here. After you've already click on create your clone, create your repo, and you've already placed the name that you want your repo to be called, so it now bring out this. So it said create a new repository on the command line. We are on the command line. That's where we were before. Then echo this into this file. So what this means is that echo, that means put hash teaching into the file called readme.md. What this double greater sign means is append. That means that if there's anything inside, write this teach me after whatsoever is inside. So this is the git init. Initialize the local git repo. Git Adams that Git should start tracking the changes. It should be placed in the staging area, readme file. Then the Git commits the message. Then the grid branch dash m means that if your if your main work was called master, you are trying to rename it to main because Git work with main, not master, is working with main. So git remote add origin, this is the URL. You can either use your URL, uniform resource locator. You can use your https, this URL to connect your GitHub to your Git in your local computer, or you use your SSH. These two. This one comes by default, but this one you need to set it up. So I'll be using my H HTTPS hypertext transfer secure protocol. This secure shell. I've already set my up. That's why it's like this. So I will just copy this code, and remember, at the end of everything, you will now do the git push This short stand for upstream, origin, main. That means to the GitHub account. So what I'll just do is that I will just copy it because I have not initialized Git in my local computer. Assuming I have done that, I will have just done this, but I haven't initialized it. So I will just do this, copy this one, then go back to my local computer. Then I will right click, then paste. Then once I paste, you see what you say. You can see, good. It has been connected successfully. Now, whatever my work now, let me go to my GitHub now. Let me go to my GitHub. So let's refresh this page. Let me refresh this page. So now you can see this thing has been successfully created. You can see the time just now. Now, now, because I've not done anything. You can see. So now, let me go back to my local computer, my Git. Good. So let me clear my screen. I've cleared my screen. Let me check my content again. So I have this content. Let me check Git status. Git status. These of you can see Git has not yet start tracking this because I've not yet staged these files. In order for me to allow Git to be tracking them, I'll use the command. I've already done this before. Git in the previous class. Git add then dot. This dot is a flag. Is a flag. So this dot represents the current directory. The current directory. So inside this current directory, we have these three files. I can decide to individually be writing each of them one after the other, but I can use this dot. So if I use this dot, everything inside my current directory, this will be added. Let me say, for example, I only want to add this particular one. I'll just call the name index.jx.j. Then I'll press enter. Now let me check my Git status again. Git status. You can see that this file it has changed to green. That means that it's being tracked. Why these two are not being tracked? So in order for me to add these two easily without typing the two name, I'll just use git add then dot. Let me clear my screen now. So I haven't done that. If I check my Git status again, status, you can see my Git status. You can see that all of them are being tracked. After being tracked, I need a commit message. Git commit, then dash m, single quote or double quote. Then I can put first commit. Then I'll press enter. Good. Now let me check git git log. Git log. You can see if you check my previous video, we spoke about git log. So you can see the author name, my name, the time when I'm recording or when I did the first commit. You can see that everything is already there. So Git is already tracking every changes that I'm making. It's tracking it. You can see. So let me just clear my screen. So for today's class, I can't talk more on. Checked my for those ones for people just checking this video, please check the previous videos. I've already spoken more on git log, git init, which other one I check out, git diff and status and git status. I've spoken more then. So for this video I was just talking about the branching. I'll be talking more about branching. So let me clear my screen. So git, let's check our branch that we have, git branch. Now we just have just one branch here. So in order for us to create a new branch, like I said, we use the command is git check out dash b. Let's call it second. You can see switch. This command actually does two things. It creates the second branch and it actually switch to the second branch immediately. Then when you do ls, the content of the first branch is already actually inside here. Remember we said echo. Let's use cat concatenate readme. Let's check the content of this md file. md, you can see exactly what we said. That is exactly what we initialized before. That is what is inside this. You can see. So in this short video we talked about how to create, we talked about the GitHub, that the GitHub is like is a remote repository, while the Git itself is a local repository. So Git, the important of GitHub is like it allow developers and other people to see our works and see what we've done, and it encourage us to collaborate with other team, like our team members when we are working on a project. And I say another good thing is that if we if you don't use the git, if we don't use GitHub, supposing our computer crash or something happen, get stolen, or we lose track of all the code that we've done, but GitHub will forever still remain. So it's an open source. It's just there, it's safe there, and I told you it's very easy for us to just, it's very easy for us to open it. You go to your menu GitHub, you see the sign up, your name, your email, your username, and that's just it. And you are ready to go. Then you click on to create a new repository. You click on the plus sign. Click on disk. You create. It will show you some other things which I've spoken about, which is not difficult. And I told you about branching. That the Pythons talk about the importance of branching. That you cannot just work on the main. You can you can branch and enable, because working on the main you are like, oh, my website is already outside, is already functional, but I am noticing some changes, some improvement that I need to make. So that is the reason why I want to branch out, so that when I am satisfied with the changes and I'm certain that it's not going to affect any code, then I can merge it upstream back to my main. It's very easy, it's not that complicated. I'll also talk on that in the next video. I just want to make this video short and it's getting long. So thank you. Please, if you are new to this channel, please endeavor to subscribe. Thank you and God bless.